All right, YouTube. I was going to talk about something. Uh, I was talking with a guy on Instagram, and I had said that I got rid of. I pretty much have gotten rid of all my really expensive knives. I don't have any custom knives left. I've pretty much sold them off, and I don't flip knives. If you heard me talk about it in other videos, I pretty much, if I buy a knife, if I buy something that's really truly expensive, then I'm not going to turn around and try and make a bunch of money off of it because I've carried it 9 times out of 10. I've carried it, so now, a lot of times I'm just trying to get out of it what I put into it. I don't like pimping knives. I see a lot of people do that, and then they try to get money out of. Oh, it's been pimped. Well, if you pimp a knife, there's a good chance that you did it the way you wanted it, and most people aren't going to want that. So, what I was going to talk about is the problem I see with custom knives, or even some of your really high-end mid-tech knives, or some of your really limited production knives. All right, I'm tired. The wife and kid are gone, and I've been doing all the stuff that the wife usually would do. So it means that I have to come home from work, and I don't get a chance. 6 o'clock, I'm just now getting to sit down for the first time, and I've been home since 3:30. So anyway, my tirade. I go on those. Tangent. So the problem with custom knives is, and like I said, limited run production knives. Like, luckily, Fair and Forge is closed, but they made about 200 of these. If I hadn't been up there, I wouldn't have known that I liked it. So the problem is when you get some of those really super limited knives, there's a good chance you haven't got to hold one or pick it up, and that's I've had a couple Shergorovs. I had a Decepticon 2. Decepticon? I don't remember. I got rid of it. Sold it. And I thought it's what I wanted. It looked amazing, but I don't get to go to knife shows. I don't go to Blade. I don't have that kind of I don't have that kind of free capital laying around to spend that kind of money. But the thing is, you get these knives and you place your order and you get them, and you're so excited, and then it comes and then you're disappointed. Happened to me with talked about it in another video. Happened to me with a Hinderer, an XM 24, the big one. I don't remember. And I got it, and it just was something I thought I wanted, and it was. Don't get me wrong, it was a gorgeous knife. It's just that when I got it, I had never got to hold one and never got to feel one, and I bought it on the secondary market, so I really got kind of taken for a ride. I mean, I sold it for what I paid for it almost, but I don't get to go to these knife shows that I see a lot of the folks on Instagram. I am not wealthy by any long stretch. I cannot go and do those things. Every once in a while, I get lucky and I'll pick up and hold something at a gun show or a knife show. Like I said, first time I ever held a Microtech DOC was at a gun show, and I fell in love with it. I still love it. This is one of 4 knives that are on my table that I was going to talk about that have kind of replaced any of my custom knives. These ones have more met the bill for what I wanted. So, like I said, the problem is you don't get to pick them up. And I got that Decepticon, and it was a gorgeous knife, and then I carried it for like 15 minutes. It just wasn't what I wanted. That Hinderer wouldn't flip. Spent all that money on that Hinderer, and like I said, I bought it on the secondary market. I think I paid 6 or 7 for it, probably closer to 750 if you want to know the truth. I don't remember. It was a while ago, and I turned around and sold it. But there are things that you grab up and you pick up, and and I'm not talking about, like, they don't all have to be expensive. All these knives here that you're going to see are in the $400 to $500 range. My new Sebenza 21 to replace the one that I sold, and then had that 25 that I didn't like, and then took the counterfeit so that I could make a video, and I have since disposed of that. I couldn't sit it around. Came across a 25 that was in not too bad condition for right around the $200 range. Don't get me wrong, it had been used heavily. Cleaned it up a little bit. I was going to send it back to get a spa treatment, and I gave that to my best friend as a birthday present. So there's knives that and while they're pricey, you know they're reliable, and you know that you're getting something that is comfortable. So my custom knives have all kind of gotten phased out. There's only one knife that's going to come in that I'm going to consider a custom, and people can say what they want. Sean Grimsmo knives are customs. They're made by hand. They're made by him and his brother. They may send stuff out to Waterjet, but that's only because I'm pretty sure John just hasn't come up with the money for a Waterjet yet. So he may wind up doing all of it in-house. If knowing him, he wants stuff to be perfect. He may buy a Waterjet machine when he gets the lathe replaced and all that other stuff. So the knives that I carry on a daily basis are no longer anything that's custom. That John Grimsmo is the only one I'm going to consider going to be custom because it's going to be Damascene steel and it's going to have a custom engraving that's got my rating badge from when I was in the military on it. So I've kind of reverted back the opposite direction of Jim Skeleton. Jim has gone into the custom knife world, and I mean he's got that kind of disposable income. He's earned it. He's earned it. But he has that kind of disposable income, and he's a successful guy. But I'm going the opposite direction. I've gone from having custom knives and realizing that, yeah, it's great, I got a custom knife, but if I can't use it and I'm not comfortable with it and I don't want to carry it, it's capital that is sitting wasted. So, these two and these two. So right now there's 3 knives that spend the majority of their time in my pocket. I have to force myself to pick, only because I got my Sebenza back and I hadn't had one for a while, and they're amazing. They're nice. By far the knife that sees the most time is my my NTAC, my Farron Forge NTAC, because it fits the bill. And I don't, if you spend $1,300 on a knife, there's a good chance you don't want to put it in your pocket. Not my pocket anyway. My pocket is a place where things get fucked up, because I know how I am with equipment. I carry this enough that the anodizing is starting to wear off in some spots, and I've done something to this that I have to go up and see Elliot about. I do believe I may have stripped the pivot when I took it apart the other day. It had something in it. I was trying to get it taken apart, and then wound up, it came out, and the grit was gone, but I'm pretty sure that when I was tightening up that pivot again, I stripped it, because it doesn't feel right. And then this, of course, my this is because with it having the little bells and whistles, the little fancy touches, I'm hesitant to put this in my pocket sometimes. But I mean, it's a good work knife. So yeah, I've gone full spectrum. I had some knives that I spent a lot of money on, and I pretty much got rid of all of them. I don't have anything that I'm going to sell anymore. I got some knives that I acquired when I was in the military, but they've got emotional attachments that I've thought about getting rid of them, but I'm not. And then I've got a bunch of, I got a drawer full of cold steel beater knives that if I need something that, I have the knives, those knives are so that I have something I can carry in my pocket as a secondary knife. I know how people are. This $400 knife that took forever for me to get as sharp as I wanted. If somebody says, hey Mike, can I borrow a knife? The first thing out of my mouth is, what are you going to cut with it? I'm going to cut this apple. Oh, hey, here you go. But if you're, I'm going to cut some speaker wire. No, go get something else. You're not even getting my shit knife. You're going to cut a piece of speaker wire. That comes from something that happened. I had a friend borrow a knife and say, hey, Mike, let me borrow your knife. Brings it back to me, and I was like, what the fuck did you do to my knife? Oh, I cut some speaker wire. Why didn't you get some wire cutters, you freaking idiot? I loaned a knife to a guy. This goes back to how sharp I keep my knives. It's just I'm playing around. I'm bored. My wife and kid are gone. They're in Japan. I won't get to see them until August. But when I was in the Navy, I let a guy borrow a knife from me one time, and he said he needed to go cut some line. And I was looking around for him a half an hour later. I was like, hey, where'd Schmucko go with my knife? And I'm like, oh, he's up in medical. What happened? He's like, I was getting his hand put back together. He realized how sharp my knife was, and he was playing. He was pulling off some line off the roll. He's, wow, look at that, just snapping through it. And snapped through it into his hand and laid his hand open. Needed like 18, 19 stitches in his hand. When he came back, he looked at me. He says, no reason. No reason on God's earth for someone to have a knife that fucking sharp. So I think we've pretty much expended this video. This was just me doing it and having some fun. But yeah, I would never say not to get a custom knife. It's amazing to get some custom knives and have that and be like, hey, I got a custom knife. I've had them, and it was a cool factor, but you know, the cool factor eventually wears out. I don't know. Both of these, this one and this one, the cool factor, that one, my goodness, that's snappy. But I don't think the cool factor on those will ever, you know, this one, just the fact that it is as limited, 200 of them about, and sorry about that. That's going to be an edit. My daughter FaceTimed me from Japan while I was talking to you guys, and sorry, she takes precedent. What I was saying is, the reason that this one is so cool is the precision that Chris and Elliot have gotten in this, where that flipper tab can be that small. And I mean, it's a heavy blade for as small as it is. And it snaps open really well, and it locks up well. And they used a radius, and it works out well. So I'm not knocking anybody for wanting custom knives. I'm just saying I've done it, and I've gone full spectrum. I had some really expensive customs. Don't get me wrong, that's a $500 knife. Actually closer to $550. It's $400. This is a $400 knife. This is I think I paid $350 for it, but I think they're less now. And I still carry all these. These are the ones that sit on my bedstand. There's one in there that I can't carry because it's illegal, but these are the ones I have. And I mean, the cost of these put together is probably about what I paid for a couple of the customs, you know, each individually. So I have been carrying this because I want to do a real review of a Sebenza. I went on a tangent looking at Sebenza videos, and I didn't see any real. I see people talking about Sebenzas, how much they love them, but they don't. And I think BT Blades did some cut testing, but I cut a lot of stuff at work. I resharpened it, fixed that profile issue, and there's some minor things with this that might go back. There's a little bit of a. You can't even see it. I can feel it. You can feel it click, 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 click. Like there's slack in that pivot, which shouldn't be there. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's nice and smooth, but you know, it's not a flipper. But you can. Well, let me see. You can make it. So yeah, like I said, before you up and just buy custom knives, you got to look at look at the specs of the blade. How big are your hands? I got big hands. That's a Sebenza. That's a large Sebenza 21 in my hand, so that gives you some reference. I got some pretty big hands. Before you up and spend that kind of money, see if you can find someplace that might have one, so you can look at one. Because sometimes you're just not gonna be happy. You'll get it and just be disappointed and think, I just spent how much on what? That Hinder, the non-flipping flipper. That was my first foray into the disappointment that you can get with knives, and didn't learn my lesson. Had a couple other knives that, not that they weren't good knives, they just were not what I wanted. The Hinder was the disappointing one. That was the one that didn't work. You know, you're gonna pay that much for a knife. It better this. I can't tell you how mad I would be if I had spent $525 on this knife and I missed the tab, and it wouldn't do that. I would be livid. So yeah, just something to think about before you up and pull the trigger on a custom knife. I really have had it, not bad experience, but just gotten things that just wound up not being what I thought they were going to be. And that's disappointing, especially when you spend that much money. And yeah, you can get that money back, but you got to put in some work, and you got to do some shipping and all that stuff. To any of my customers, I appreciate I've gotten some comments on my videos. I had knives go out. I've got some razors coming in. It's John Grimsmo said sometimes it can take some wild grinding to get videos and get your name out there. I have gotten the majority of it locally lately. I dropped off a bunch of business cards at some establishments, and I was kind of disappointed because at first it didn't seem like it was working, and now it seems like I've been busy. I made, I'm not going to tell you what I made, but sharpened all those kitchen knives over the weekend, sharpened a couple folding knives and then broke a stone, and now I've got a couple people that have to wait. I dropped a stone on the floor and broke it. Now I have to buy a new stone. It's not that big a deal. I've done it before, and it's not that expensive of a stone, but it's one that I need to do. It's my mid. It's in the middle. It gets me where I'm going, and I really don't want to try and find a workaround and spend more time and ruin them. You know, the finer stones you use less, but they are more expensive. So, I'm on a tirade again, off on a side street. So no, if you guys do watch my videos, I've had some comments that I liked. I appreciate it. It's fun. I see why John got into it so much, and some other people do, and spend so much time on YouTube. So, all right, I'm going to edit this in. It's probably going to be around about 14-15 minutes. So, but I hadn't done a video in a week or two. So, all right, YouTube, you guys take it easy. Bye.